This episode contains mature language and situations. Listener discretion is advised. You wake to the sound of a train. The clack, clack, clack of wheels. In the distance, is that the sound of birds in a forest? No. It's angels in a choir. Or is it demons from hell? It doesn't matter. You have no memory of how you got here. All you know is that you're lost, and that now you belong to the Grey Rooms. Season 4, Episode 3.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
We're still moving. Have a drink, eat some food. Stop worrying.
You're only saying that because you've already done it. You've gone through a door. Why wouldn't I worry? I still have to...
Die. You still have to die. Oh, there's garlic and butter on this bread.
Imani, you still don't want to talk about it?
No, I really don't.
I just mean, I think it would help if I had some idea of what you went through.
I promise you it wouldn't, Findley.
Admirable, how quickly you've recovered. It took me hours to calm down.
I've had some training.
I thought I'd seen damned near everything there was to see. But what I experienced beyond that door, I wasn't ready for it. Not by half. So, as I said, admirable.
Thanks, I guess.
No, you see, you're just trying to spook me. Aren't you, Zukk? Right?
Not everything is about you, human. As you said, you're next. If I were you, I'd spend less time worrying and more time preparing myself for the trial ahead.
Oh, screw you, fish. You wouldn't understand.
Hey!
I understand well enough that you're a coward.
Hey!
I could turn you into paste, you scaly fuck. Want a demonstration?
Hey, enough! Sit, both of you. I'm nursing a witch of a headache, and the idea of chewing anything right now makes me want to vomit. Let me nurse my coffee and bourbon in peace.
We were going to compare notes.
Right.
Have you remembered anything else about how you got here?
No, still just a big blur. How about you? Anything?
No, nothing. I was out with some of the others from my crew. We were at a kind of way station. Very nice. Tropical, lots of rain, soft breezes. Are you familiar with the concept of alcoholic drinks with little umbrellas in them?
I mean, yeah. I don't think I've ever had one, but I've seen pictures.
Ah, well, that's the kind of place I was at. Spending some of our payment after a long, protracted job. We sat down at a table in this little bar. I remember looking around the place, making sure we were in friendly territory. And that's it. The next thing I recall, I was waking up on that couch, hearing the two of you talking.
All right, Robo-Man, your turn. You remember anything? And who's Ripper?
Oh, now I can talk.
Come on, man. Don't be like that. We're in this together, right?
Right. I don't remember much more than either of you. I'm an engineer and doctor, okay? I specialize in, well, this kind of stuff. I'd finished up my last patient for the day. Lady wanted new eyes. Easy stuff. I have a little lab set up for myself in the storage unit of my flat. I clocked in there, started tinkering with a few things. It was getting late. You asked who Ripper is. He's this guy. Where I'm from, you need protection, right? If you're going to do the kind of work I do, the gear I deal with every day is valuable. And so I made arrangements with Ripper and his guys to keep me safe. And in exchange, I do work for them, if it comes up. They might come in with some spare parts, and I install them, or patch them up if they get hurt.
I'm assuming you don't ask a lot of questions about where these spare parts come from.
No, I don't, because I like breathing.
You said you owed him something.
Yeah. Just a little misunderstanding, you know. We were going to talk about it. That's the last thing I remember. Ripper buzzing me at my door. And then I woke up here.
Not a lot to work with, really. Perhaps they kidnapped us? Imani from her quarters, me from the bar? Would it be fair to say, Findley, that your friend, Ripper, might have sold you out to our captors?
Keep your fucking speculation to yourself.
Ah, I've touched a nerve. How surprising.
Are either of you familiar with the term emotional labor?
What?
Screw it. Never mind. New topic. New question. Zukk, how come I can understand you?
I'm sorry? What do you mean?
I wasn't sure at first, but since we've been talking today, I'm hearing different words than you're saying. Your mouth moves and you're talking in whatever language you know, but I hear you talk in my language, English.
Oh, why didn't I notice that? You're right. You're doing the same thing.
That's creepy. So, we're talking to each other in our heads?
Well, I don't know this language, English. Is it possible?
Good evening, everyone. I trust you are enjoying the meal our dear Cries laid out for you.
Yeah, Cal. Best food a kidnap victim could want, I guess.
I did enjoy the garlicked bread.
I'll let her know then.
Is it almost...
Oh, yes. In a short while. I thought I would sit and talk with you all, though. See if I could answer any questions.
Imani makes a fair point, Caliban. You have kidnapped us. You are holding us against our will. Why this pretense of caring what we think?
I know it may seem hard to believe, but we do care what you think. Management very much wanted to take pains to provide you with a sense of, of mortal normalcy. You have your own rooms, a bit of privacy. You can get food here whenever you like, and the three of you rotate who chooses a door at each station. So, you have a significant amount of time where you have nothing to do at all. I noticed Imani has found the library car. I hope there were some interesting tomes among the shelves.
Yeah, a lot of titles I didn't recognize too, which was interesting. I guess I hear what you're saying, Cal, but this is... It's fucking nuts, man. You've got us locked up in here, and you send us to these terrible places.
It's torture.
Why is it that we die inside the doors, and then we live again?
There are some things I can't fully explain, for which I apologize. As I said when we first met, the three of you are special in your own way. Your choices here, and I know it's cruel what we do to you. Your choices matter. They are the heart of the project. You're doing important work for us, even if you cannot see it.
When do we get to go home?
Home?
Yeah. When do I get to get back to my clan? And Zukk to his crew, and Findley his garage.
We'll have to see, won't we? The project has goals it has to meet. I'll speak with management, though. Ask them if they can give me an estimate.
Why, if you don't mind me asking, why do you and Cries look so different?
We're from very different places. We have different lineages.
You said, mortal normalcy before. Does that mean you're not...
Mortal?
Yeah. Are your lineages not... whatever, mortal?
We are most assuredly not mortal, no. I know it may be hard to tell, given my cheery disposition, but Cries and I are very different than the three of you, from very different places. We operate on on another level.
What does that mean? Different level. Where do you come from?
As the saying goes, our time is up. I'll have to see one of you to your doors. I'm very sorry. I quite liked our conversation, though. Hopefully we can continue it later. Now then, who will be getting off at this station? I believe your choices are a door called 1 year, and a door called Jailbird.
Findley,
I can't. Please.
come on, man. We both did it. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's easy, but do you really want one of us to go through that again? Just so you don't have to?
I am... Shit.
Coward.
I'm afraid I'll need an answer. Findley, it sounds as if your cohorts believe it is your turn.
No, please. I can't do it. This isn't... You can't make me.
Actually, I promise you, I can make you, though I do not want to. Imani, Zukk, if Findley will not go to the station by choice, I will escort him. If one of you would care to go again, that's perfectly acceptable to myself and management. As Cry said, who leaves the train is ultimately up to the three of you, as long as someone chooses a door at each station. You asked me, Zukk, how I operate on a different level from you, and this is one of those ways. The choices you mortals make are precious, important. So, will one of you go in Findley's stead?
No.
No.
All right then.
No! Please! Please! Get your hands off me! No! You can't make me go! You can't make me go! Please don't make me go! No, please! Help! Help me! You can't make me go! Please!
Please, sir, right this way.
Help me, please! Someone help! Get your hands off me! Get off! Please let go! I can't. Please! I don't want to go!
Ever feel like maybe you deserve it? That you're a worthless piece of shit like they say?
The group grew quiet. Only the sound of the fire crackling in the barrel drum filled the alley. We glanced at each other, then quickly away.
Shit, I'll drink to that.
A chorus of grunts and eyes rose above the fire. Each person took a swig of their beer or a hit from the joint that was passed around. The joint landed with me. I held it between my thumb and forefinger, just staring at it. Everyone talked and laughed while I watched smoke rise. I didn't agree with him. I knew I didn't deserve a single beating from my dad. Yeah, I broke things or made mistakes. So did everyone else. I wasn't perfect, and neither was my dad. I saw that every day when I came home from school to find him half naked and passed out on the couch, an empty beer can rising and falling with the movements of his potbelly. I knew I deserved better than the shitty parents I had been given, just as I knew that if I kept my head down for one more year, I would be free to go my own. High school graduation was close. Ever feel like... Saoirse elbowed her on-again boyfriend Paul in the gut. Beer spewed from his mouth. She shushed him and pointed at me. Paul could see my expression. It was the look one of us gets when we figured out the next question to ask. And one by one, the group grew silent. They watched and waited for me to speak. Ever feel like you should kill them for hurting you? Laughing at you? Calling you names? Shoving you in your locker? Or dunking your head in the toilet? Just slit their throats while they sleep, or drown them while they do dishes? Shut a locker on their head until they stop moving? Blow up the school? No one moved. Not even to fidget with their beers. I tore my eyes from the fire to find them all gaping at me. I wished I could sink into the abandoned van seat, but a spring dug into my back. Another reminded me it was coming loose next to my thigh.
That's some dark shit, dude.
It was just a joke.
Oh. Right.
Roger took a swig of his beer and turned to make out with the newest member of the group, a sophomore whose name I couldn't remember. The others took it as a sign they could keep talking. Some followed Roger's lead and made out with another person. I pushed up from the seat, slicing my palm on the spring next to my thigh. I cursed and moved closer to the fire. The cut wasn't deep, but it was long. I pulled the sleeve of my jacket over it and cupped the beer bottle tight to try to stop the bleeding. I mumbled something about needing to piss and stumbled between the seat and Saoirse.
Watch it, man.
The next second, he seemed to have forgotten all about me because his mouth and hands were all over Saoirse. I watched them for a few moments. That afternoon, Saoirse had met me in the woods behind the school. Now, she was back with Paul, and if he ever found out we had been together, he'd kill me. Slut. I lurched toward the darkness at the back of the alley. Only when I got there did I realize I actually had to pee. As I was zipping up my pants, a shadow detached itself from the wall and sauntered over. I blinked at a boy a couple years older than me. Dark hair sprouted all over his head like freshly mown grass. Hooded eyes glinted in the firelight. He wore a faded and torn army jacket and black jeans.
I could help with your problem.
What problem?
Parents. Bullies at school. You really want them dead?
The boy looked at me straight in the eye. I took a step back and ran into the alley wall. For a second, and it looked like his eyes had been completely blank. I blinked, and he turned his head enough that I saw it must have been a trick of the light. Who are you? I glanced at the group 10 feet away. No one paid us any attention. To me, it felt like I'd stopped existing and the world hadn't noticed.
Name is Sorkin. You can decide if that's first or last. You have a problem. I can help.
How? Sorkin raised an eyebrow. He considered me, as if wondering if I was worth it. Then, he broke eye contact and glanced at the group.
Those idiots have accepted their lot in life. Yeah. They may bitch and moan and talk like they hate it and want to do something about it, but at the end of the day, they know they're worthless punks that'll never amount to much. You, on the other hand...
Sorkin's eyes glinted, as if he had made a decision. What about me?
I can see you're different. You don't belong with them. I'm willing to bet you don't belong anywhere.
I had tried to make friends at various points in my life. The baseball jocks berated me endlessly for throwing like a girl. The girl playing the female lead in the middle school play refused to work with me because I smelled like cigarettes and had bad breath. The popular kids let slip that I was poor and lived in the bad part of town when I ran for school council. The student body had avoided me like a leper after that. Then, Roger and his group of misfits came along. No one cared that my clothes didn't fit right. My nose was too big and crooked from too many punches, or my dad was a drunk who liked to beat his family. The others were like me. All came from shitty backgrounds and didn't look like they fit the part of a popular kid. Even though I had been with Roger's group for 2 years, I still didn't fit in. Even with them, I said odd things that made the others uncomfortable. Like earlier, I had stared at the girls a little too long, until they called me a creep. Saoirse said the same thing when the others were around, but when we were alone, she acted like she loved me.
You okay?
I pulled my attention from the back of Saoirse's orange-red head. My mind was looping through the feeling of her soft skin against mine, the sight of her dirt-brown eyes closing as I entered her.
You understand what I'm saying, don't you?
Saoirse giggled at something Paul whispered in her ear. She threw her head back, exposing her long, white neck. She would laugh like that whenever I said something funny. "How can you help me?" I remembered the 40 in my hand and took a swig of lukewarm fizz. I glared at the empty bottle and chucked it across the alley. Its shatter drew the attention of the group. They flicked their gazes at me, then away, resuming their conversations or make-out sessions. I meant nothing. Sorkin drew a hunting knife from a leather holder at his waist and held it just far enough for me to see the glint of firelight on metal.
If you really want to slice your asshole father's throat, I have a knife sharp enough to split the hairs on his head.
I eyed the spot where the knife disappeared into shadows when Sorkin put it away. Saoirse giggled again, but I refused to look at her. That morning, my father had woken a particularly foul mood. When my mom had dropped a pan full of eggs on the table, he beat her first, before turning his fists on me. I hadn't been able to sit without a cracked rib pushing into my organs since. Saoirse had gently kissed the bruises while we lay naked in the woods. She hadn't said a word about what happened. She never did. She was just there, keeping me company when my thoughts turned to dark places. What's in it for you?
That's what I do. I help people like me. Kids who don't have the power to fight back. Kids who don't deserve to be beat when the dishwater's too hot and there's too much soap so a plate slips and shatters on the floor. Did that one ever happen to you?
No.
Maybe not that one exactly, but similar stuff. I can see it on your face. All your faces. But you're the only one who truly wants to do something about it. That makes you different. Special.
How?
I've been doing this a long time. By myself. It gets lonely after a while. We all need human companionship. It's in our DNA.
I'm not good at the friend thing.
You're not really getting what I'm saying.
Well, what are you saying?
I'm a master looking for an apprentice.
What?
I'll teach you everything I know. The easiest spots on the human body to slip in a knife. Pressure points that cause the most pain. That kind of stuff. All I ask for is 1 year.
A year for what?
You spend 1 year with me, then we'll go our separate ways.
Why would I do that?
Because you're tired of being powerless. For once, you'd like to give your father a taste of what it's like to be the victim. To have no control.
I rapped on the balcony door before turning the handle. It was unlocked, as always. I waited a moment for my eyesight to adjust before tiptoeing to the bed. Saoirse.
Erin, what time is it?
I didn't answer. I was too busy glancing around the spacious room, eyes alighting on objects I'd spent countless hours with while we fucked and talked about life. One wall was full of books on built-in shelves. More shelves lined a second wall, these ones full of porcelain dolls her dad had bought during business trips around the world. Each doll was clothed in attire from her native country, each grinning, dark eyes full of knowing. My gaze caught on the vanity opposite the bed. Its tall, wide mirrors threw back my reflection. With the moonlight streaming in through the balcony doors, I looked like a ghost.
Erin.
I started and turned to look at her. Her frizzy hair pointed in all directions, and her brown hair looked black in the darkness. She wasn't a pretty girl. I assume that's why she ran with Roger's crowd instead of trying to fit in with the rich kids in her neighborhood.
What's wrong?
She sat up and threw back the covers. Grabbing my arm, she coaxed me onto the bed. She ran a hand through my hair and across my cheek. I caught her hand and kissed it. Tears streamed down my face.
Erin, you're scaring me. What's happened? Did your dad...
I need to feel something that's real. I need to know that isn't a dream, Saoirse. I lunged forward, teeth knocking in my haste to get to her. My hands clawed at her hair, skin, and clothes, not in an attempt to get her naked, but just to touch her. She pulled back after a minute. Her hands were gentle as they explored my face, wiping away my tears. She kissed my nose, then began to undress me. Later, she lay wrapped around my body, one hand on top of the deep purple bruises on my torso. Her touch hurt, but I didn't ask her to move her hand. I just liked her body melting into mine. The pain let me know I was real, that I hadn't tumbled down a dark, bottomless pit. They're dead.
Who?
My parents.
What happened?
She sat up, tucked her feet under her thighs, and waited for me to speak. I watched shadows from the trees outside play across her chest as a breeze moved their bare limbs. I wanted to touch her again, grab her hand and never let go. But I knew once she heard what I had to say, that she'd never let me near her again. I killed them. Her head cocked to the side, and her lips scrunched in the way that meant she didn't understand. I sat up, and before she could react, kissed her lips, hard and fast, and jumped from her bed. I gathered my clothes and began to dress. She stood and stopped me. I refused to look at her, so she placed a hand under my chin and turned my head toward her.
Please tell me this is some kind of joke. Earlier you said... You meant it? About wanting to kill them? Oh, Erin.
Don't you dare pity me. Not you.
Erin, I'm not...
You don't know what it's like. How could you? You live in your mansion on the hill while I live in the slums. In a few years, you'll go away to your college of choice, while my options consist of working at Walmart or an auto shop. We're nothing alike. I don't know why I ever bothered with you.
You know I love you.
Yeah? Then why do you run back to Paul whenever he calls? You know he's using you because you're a slut with daddy issues, right? A whore who needs the approval of a man to feel any worth.
Why would you say that? I thought we...
There is no we. I got what I wanted from you. Got what I wanted from my parents, too. They finally paid for what they did. I stepped close and pushed the blade of Sorkin's knife against her throat. She gasped, and a warmth rippled through me at the scared look in her eyes. Do you want to pay as well?
Erin, you've had your fun. Either end the bitch or let her go. We need to move on before the police discover the bodies.
Who is he?
Someone who understands. Someone who actually cares. I dropped my hand from her throat, finished buttoning my pants, and followed Sorkin outside.
I always cared, Erin. Always.
I tried to ignore her, but I couldn't ignore the feeling deep in my chest that her words conjured. The bottomless pit had opened again. Its dark depths beckoned with nonsensical words, promises of power and control over my life.
Erin, don't go. Let me help.
And then I blinked at the knife protruding from her torso. Her hand slipped from her shoulder. I hadn't felt her touch or even realized I'd turned to face her. Someone chuckled from behind, but I forgot who else was on the balcony.
Erin.
Saoirse fell to her knees, then onto her back, moonlight turning her milky skin even paler.
Get the knife.
I obeyed the command and pulled the knife free from her smooth skin. Uncorked, her blood spilled over her body and away from the wound. It looked pitch black in the moonlight. I staggered away, and Sorkin caught me at the railing.
It's for the best. No one to rat you out.
Erin.
I kept my back to her as I swung my legs over the railing. I knew the image of her marred and bleeding skin would haunt me to the end of my days, but I also didn't want to see the accusation in her eyes. It was time to leave. Numb fingers carried me down the trellis and away from her room. Sorkin had disappeared. I turned and ran along the side of the house until I reached the fence. At the top, I looked at Saoirse's balcony. Moonlight spilled across the railing, but at that angle, I couldn't see anything past the railing. I slid from the fence and ran to catch up with Sorkin. I had promised him 1 year of my life. That year began tonight. I stood in the shadows between two trees, cleaning my fingernails with a hunting knife, and watching the father inside the cabin knock his son into a wall. The boy had put too many logs on the fire, and the sparks had caught the rug on fire. They had everything under control within a minute, but the father didn't care. The boy's mother stood off to the side, blankly staring at the rug. After things had calmed down and the parents went to bed, I crept into the cabin. The boy sat on the couch, watching dying flames. I could help with your problem.
Who are you? How'd you get in here?
Name's Cook. I'll leave it to you to decide if that's my first name or last. That father of yours has a bad temper. The boy turned so the fresh gash on his right cheek and the accompanying bruise were hidden in shadows. How would you like to fix him? Permanently.
What do you mean?
I pulled a knife from my belt and slowly turned it. My gaze flicked from the blade to the boy. The belligerent asshole has it coming. Don't you think?
He's my dad.
So? Does he think twice before wailing on his son? Does he stop to wonder about his love for you before knocking you into a wall? How many concussions have you had? Broken bones? All because of your dad.
Killing him's the answer? It'll solve all my problems?
It's a start. Where you take it from there is up to you. But I can help with that.
Why?
Because I was once where you are now. A helpless child whose father would have sent him to an early grave. But I took matters into my own hands. He paid for what he did. They all did.
They?
Every last person who laughed at my misery, blamed me for every wrong in their life, bullied and beat me. All of them. You could do the same. I can show you how.
Why would you do that?
I know what it's like to feel powerless. I also know what it feels like to take the power away from someone. Once you do that, you're free to do whatever you want.
All I have to do is kill my dad?
That's all.
Then what? What happens after my dad's dead?
I show you what else you're capable of. I show you how to help others like us. Give me 1 year, and I'll give you the power to take control of your own life.
1 year?
1 year? The boy was silent for a long time as he thought it over.
Okay. But I don't want your stupid knife.
He grabbed a shotgun that leaned against the wall next to the fireplace. That'll be a lot messier.
It's how he wants it after the way you left him.
What?
Sorkin. He told me you'd show up.
That's impossible. Sorkin's dead.
Do you think death can stop someone like him?
Who are you?
Sorkin sends his regards. He says he'll see you in hell.
The boy swung the barrel up, pulled the trigger, and shot me square in the chest. I felt the force of the shot push my body through the cabin window, and I land on the hard ground outside. The wind's knocked out of me, and I can't catch my breath. Stars in my vision begin to weave in and out of focus. The boy's face suddenly appears above me. I try to ask why, but no words come out. I can't get my body to do anything I tell it.
You really shouldn't have left him for dead last week. He gave you everything. Taught you all he knew. You were the one to take over, to change the world. Guess the world will stay the same now, thanks to you.
Darkness swirls in, clouding the boy's face and obscuring the stars.
They're waiting for you to get their revenge. Your dad, Paul, Roger, Saoirse. You broke the one rule that comes with the gig. Never take an innocent life. That baby hadn't done anything wrong yet. You have to pay. For eternity.
My eyes closed, except they didn't. I could feel them still open. But the world went dark. The boy's voice followed me down a deep, dark hole, except it sounded an awful lot like the voice I had been trying to forget for 12 months.
Erin. Erin. I've been waiting a long time to see you, Erin. There's so much I want to tell you.
Screams of pure agony garbled her next words. Heat, hotter than any fire, flared across my skin, cutting deeper and deeper with every pass. Wind temporarily pushed the flames down. Dirt ignited the wounds left behind before the fire began burning muscle. The screams intensified. The pain is unimaginable. And there, behind it all, was the familiar laugh of a boy with buzzed hair and wearing a faded army jacket.
Welcome home, Erin.
One Year, written by C.A. Greene, with performances by Patrick Mealey as Erin, Graham Rowat as Roger, Michael Turrentine as Ty, Dan Rosales as Sorkin, Erin King as Saoirse, Graham Rowat as Paul, and Michael Turrentine as the boy. Nightmare Fuel, written by Michael Zenke, featuring performances by Danyelle Ellet as Imani, Jack Carmichael as Findley, Jeff Clement as Zukk, and Brandon Greene as Caliban. Musical composition is by J.M. Scherf. Episode artwork, web development, and creative direction by Cassie Pertit. Patreon management by Brooks Bigley. Videography by Hale Scherf. Community management by Tori Miller. Audio engineering and sound design was by me, Jason Wilson. Well, another episode in the books, and just remember, roomies, to be careful who you make deals with. We can't wait to see you next week, listeners. And patrons, look for your first bonus story of Season 4 to slide into your feeds alongside the next episode on Sunday. And speaking of our patrons, we would also like to take the time to thank our patrons once again, and to any of those who have taken the time to leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Those reviews keep us at the top of the charts and makes it easier for more twisted souls to find the show. Patrons like Allison Chains, Amanda Siegfried, Amy Nicolai, Annalise Belladonna, Arthur Unk, Colton Quickle, Danny the Spoon Lord, Doozer Pindon, Ellie Dowell, Ellen Houghton, Emily Cullen, Eric Pritchard, Eric Foams, Evan Jaffe, Gage Mecro, Harrison Lively, Jackalbot Snows, Jason Porras, Jeremiah Overstreet, Jeremy Schaefer, Joanna Walker, Julian Rether, Katie Tatry, Kelly Bear, Klaus H., Kyle Wilcox, Laura Lupinetti, Lynn Browning, Mary Jane Dillaboo, Megan Pruitt, Michael Velez, Mitch Garrett, Michael Philick BG, My Ex Does Porn, McPaul Jims, Nightmare Rabbit, Paige Pie, Pake Carey, Patrick Stewart, Philip Akey, Plin Plin Plon, All Night Long, Ramius, Riley Warren, Ronan Kumori, Rorschach of Flesh, Ryan McCann, Ryzan, the Mad, Sandy King Carpenter, Sean Gary, Serena Eli, Spirit Live, Talisha Gullman, The Good Prof, Teresa Tabor, TJ Hodder, the Undisputed Baron of Disneyland, Wolf Delta Pi, and Zektros Veraskul Shaktolas. And if you'd like to get these episodes ad-free, then go to patreon.com/The Grey Rooms and find the tier that is right for you. You can find The Grey Rooms on Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite podcatcher, but we are also now available on iHeartRadio's Spreaker app. Just download the iHeart Spreaker app or open the browser and search The Grey Rooms. And we here at The Grey Rooms love our listeners, and we want to give back to you in the best way that we know how. We have a lot of fun things to show you, and we always hope that you like them. And you can find out more by joining us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, and Facebook. And we took your advice and extended an olive branch to all of the tortured souls who have passed through the rooms. Our emotional support group is always looking to help you with all of your needs. And don't forget about our merch store. It's full of epic designs and logos for you to sport, showing the world that you are a survivor of these very rooms. All of this can be found in the show notes or on our website at thegrayrooms.com. And last but not least, always a big, loving shout out to our Discord channel. We have another patron movie night coming up. Right now we're taking votes on our Patreon to figure out what we will be watching, and I'll tell you what, those are always a super fun time. So if it's something you'd like to jump on into, feel free. Drop on over to the Discord, stop on over to Patreon, find a tier, and come join us today. Also, need I mention once more that this is the best Discord community in the entire world? Yeah, okay, I will. This is the best Discord community in the entire world. You can come in there and meet actors, authors, members of staff, patrons, listeners, anybody and everybody who just wants to be part of the Grey Rooms and part of the community. And guess what else? Extra supportive, super fun, great, nice human beings. Not to mention, we're always playing games and streaming together. So, seriously, if you're not there, you're missing out. So go to Discord, hit the link in the show notes, and join us today. Now, that was episode 3, and we have a lot more to go before we conclude season 4. So we have a ton of work to get our hands dirty in, and we're going to go ahead and get right back to that. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. This has been a Grey Rooms production. Copyright 2021 and 2022.